The first advanced estimates peg farm sector growth in FY22 at 3.9%. This means the full year growth for the sector could be slightly higher than the long-term average of 3 to 4%. But more than farm sector growth, it is the overall rural recovery that will be of significance in the coming year. The reason? Well, India's food grain production in the 2020-21 crop year, July to June, is projected at an all-time high of almost 309 million tons. But the latest situational assessment survey of the agriculture sector shows that the share of crop production in an average agriculture household's monthly income dropped from 47.9% to 37.7% between 2012-13 and 2018-19. During the same period, the share of wages rose from 32.2% to 40.3%. That implies wages now are one of the main sources of income for agricultural households in the country. Also, its failure to free marketing from the clutches of estranged players will test the centre's resolve to undertake bolder reforms for the agriculture sector. What could the budget do? To free up agriculture markets, the centre could now look to expand the scope of its ongoing initiatives like ENAM or building 22,000 rural hearths. A big thrust of the government has been on collectivization. After launching an ambitious scheme to form 10,000 new farmer-producer organizations with a total outlay of around 6,900 crore rupees, the centre for the first time formed a separate Ministry of Corporation in FY22. That Home Minister Amit Shah was trusted with leading this newly formed ministry was seen by many as a signal that the ministry and its working will play a significant role in the years to come. With almost 0.8 million registered cooperatives across the country, a large number of them in rural and semi-urban areas, and approximately 400 million people directly impacted by the cooperatives, any control or power over them opens up a huge opportunity for political patronage, either at the state level or the central level. The forthcoming budget could lay down a roadmap for the newly formed ministry and the work that it plans to undertake in its first year of operations. The scheme to computerize around 92,000 primary agriculture cooperative society, around 65,000 of them viable, was first announced in 2017 with an outlay of around 2,000 crore rupees. However, the scheme could not make much headway after that. The coming budget is expected to give a fresh lease of life to this, along with the focus on a national policy for cooperatives in expanding the scope and ambit of registration of multi-state cooperative societies. With polls around the corner in 3 key states of UP, Punjab and Uttarakhand, and farmers accounting for a sizable chunk of the electorate here, the centre could look at increasing the annual amount under the PM Kisan from the existing 6,000 rupees, or to bring more farmers under the scheme's ambit by including those who were left out earlier. For rural India, a big thrust could be on adequately funding schemes like Manrega and also rural roads and housing. We spoke to CRISIL Director Hetal Gandhi to understand what could be the salient points of the 2022-23 budget.
Reforms in the agricultural side of the value chain will continue to remain important both in the short as well as the long term. The Government of India had propagated doubling of farmer incomes. Farm-linked incomes account for only 50% of the total farmers' household incomes. A number of other activities like dairy, poultry, NREGA or wage-linked labor charges constitute the remaining 50%. We believe investments to improve productivity and efficiency in these areas can drive short-term gains in terms of incomes. Further, NREGA-based disbursements, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Rural, have been pretty effective in improving farmer incomes over the past 3 years. We believe trends and allocations over there may also continue.
We spoke to Kiran Visa, co-founder of Ritu Swarajya Vedika and National Working Group member of the All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee.
What the farmers organizations would expect is definitely that the government should release a white paper on the doubling of farmers' incomes and where the farmers' incomes are now and how it proposes to actually increase the farmers' incomes, because so far in the last 6 years, the evidence suggests that it has failed to do so. Secondly, the very key demand underlying the farmers' agitation is that they should get a fair price for their produce, especially the minimum support price which the government itself announces should be guaranteed to all the farmers. And in fact, it has been demanding that there should be a legislation which guarantees the minimum support price. The gap between the announced MSP and the actual price that the farmers are getting in the market is about 50,000 crores. Now, if you take last year's figures, it would be close to about 75,000 crores. So something of that order needs to be allocated by the government. Something of the order of 50,000 crores, a fund needs to be established for market intervention in a timely way in order to ensure MSP. What we've been finding is that the government budget allocations have been reducing over the years. You take any of the flagship schemes like the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, the PM Asha scheme or the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. All these schemes are actually performing below par. So in fact, the farmers would expect that the government should come out with a status paper on all these schemes, at least the flagship schemes, at least all the schemes which have a Pradhan Mantri in front of them.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.